Is the recording started? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, let's start with the understanding of binomial model. Right. So this is a very useful technique. Basically useful and popular technique. For pricing an option. And second thing is that this assumes that, or this basically based on the assumption that asset price follows a random walk. Right. So just at a glance, what do you mean by the random walk? So at each step, right, there's certain probability of moving up and certain probability of moving down. So how many of you have heard about the term random walk? How many of you have heard what do you mean by the random walk and why it is very important? Anybody have heard the term random walk? Yes or no? Or should I mean, if not, then I'll explain a little bit about what is random walk.
Sir, I didn't heard this term.
Okay, so how many of you, please raise your hand if you have heard the term random walk and you know what it is, little bit. None of you. Okay, please raise your hand if you have never heard that. Okay, so I'll give you a glimpse of random walk. We will cover more onto that one when we try to understand from the stochastic point of view. So let's say the simplest one among all the random walk could be the one-dimensional random walk. So today we'll talk about the one-dimensional random walk. So what it happens is that, let's say that a particle, very simple, a particle is moving in one dimension, and right, it can take on a +1 addition wherever he is there with probability, very simple one. We are talking about equal probability with the probability half, and -1 with again probability half. So what does this mean? At any point of time, if it is at let's say that it is like, we have an origin. So if it is at 0, we have an equal probability that in the next step it can move to either 1 or -1. This all to have an equal probability. So let's say that we realized at t is equal to, or or the next step, that he has reached to this point 1, then it can move to either 2 with the probability 1, or it can go back to 0 with the probability 1/2. So is this phenomena clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Right. So let's say that why it is very important. Correct. So let me make some kind of a binomial tree of it. So let's say that he is starting at x, or time is equal to 0, at x is equal to 0. So he is starting at origin at t is equal to 0, or we can say that at present he is at the origin. So in the next step, it can be at 1 or minus 1. Do you agree with this? With the probability
Yes, sir.
half and half. So at the end, whatever I am writing, 1 and minus 1, it means that it is reaching from 0 to 1. It's kind of a node from 0 to 1 or 0 to minus 1. And whatever written on the edges, it's like a probability. Right. So can you tell me what would be the expected value of x1? It will be half into 1 plus half into minus 1. Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir. Yes, sir.
So it will be 0.
Yes, sir.
And what will be the variance? What will be the variance? Okay, can I write it as a variance would be expected value of x1 minus
1, sir.
expected value of x1 square?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So basically, if I just, we know that expected value of x1 is 0, right? So it would be simple as expected value of x1 square. In this case,
Yes,
or
sir.
no? So expected value of x1 square would be half times 1 square plus half times minus 1 square. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So it will be 1.
Yes, sir.
Correct. So if the variance is 1, the standard deviation of x1 will also be equal to 1. Correct.
Yes, sir.
Now from one step we move on to the second step. Let's try to see that. So we are at x is equal to 0, which is x naught at time t is equal to 0, and we are trying to find it out what are the probability of different state at x is equal to 2. So we know that at x is equal to 1 it can be 1 and minus 1. So at x is equal to 2, from 1 it can go to 2 or 0.
Yes, sir.
Right? And x is equal to 2, from minus 1 it can go to 0 or minus 2.
Yes, sir.
How many of you are able to follow this? Please raise your hand. Great. So I'm again writing one step probability. Right. And let me write with a different color in the bracket what will be the total probability. So the total probability will be just be a multiplication. This would be how much? 1 by 2. Do you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So now again, if I try to find it out, what is the expected value of x2? What is the expected value of x2? What can I say? 2 into 1 by 4 plus 0 into 1 by 2 plus minus 2
Minus 2 into 1.
1 by 4. That again comes out to be 0. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What will be the variance? Now you should be able to get that one. What should be the variance?
It will be 2, sir.
Right. Very good. So standard deviation, I can write it as root 2. Correct? Are you being able to follow this?
Yes, sir.
This is a kind of a random walk, right? This is a kind of a random walk we are talking about. So our asset is also in the binomial, and this is the way we have created this. This all together is called the binomial tree or lattice. Right, this is what we will be doing for our binomial model. One thing we have assumed it to be equal probability, right? If I don't assume to be the equal probability, my expected value at any point will not be 0, right? What is the main one important thing about a random walk is that the mean is proportionate to basically we are calculating here with the time t is equal to 0, t is equal to 1, t is equal to 2, and we are assuming that each time interval he can take one step with the equal probability to go one or taking a +1 step or -1 step. So mean is proportionate to the time and standard deviation is proportionate to root square of the time. This we will again come back, keep this one in the mind. We have not covered this one because we have assumed here to be the equal probability. If I take, let's say that a 2 by 3 and 1 by 3 probability, so we have a 2 by 3 probability of getting 1 and 1 by 3 probability of getting -1 step. In that case, you will look that number of steps we are taking is proportionate to a factor t. Sorry, mean is proportionate to the factor t, and standard deviation would be the proportionate to root 2. This we will again discuss again later when we move towards I know and trying to find it out the stochastic differential equation of Black-Scholes formula. So for now being able to get that, what do you mean by the random walk?
So it should be variance, right? Variance is proportionate to t.
Standard deviation is proportionate to root t. Variance would be proportionate to t. It's okay.
So because the mean is 0, so like why will it be proportionate to t?
Mean is 0. Mean is 0 because.
Sorry, you have written it there as mean is proportional to t. So he's talking about that.
And I mean is proportional. Okay, I'll just cover that part. Let's say that we are at x is equal to 0. We can go to 1 and -1. Let's say that this time it is probability has changed. 2 by 3 and 1 by 3. Correct? So what is the expected value of x1? 2 by 3
1 by
minus
3.
2 by 3 minus?
1 by 3.
Okay, so it's 1 by 3. Now again, it is equal to 0. We'll look here. It can be either these many places, it can go -1. Here the probability will be 4 by 9.
Yes.
Yes, it will be 2 into 2
By 9.
1 by 3, and it will be 1 by 9. Right?
Yes, sir.
So it will be also be 4 by 9.
Yes, sir.
All right. So what will be the expected value of 2?
So 3 by 9, 1 by 3.
Huh?
3 by 9. 1 by. So 4 by 9. 1 into 4 by 9.
It should be 2 there. No? It's 2 0.
Okay, sorry. It will be 2 and -2. Yes, sorry. Correct. So now it will be 2 into 4 by 9 minus
2 by 3.
2 into 1 by 9. So it is 2 by 3. So you say that it has been factor multiplied by 1 by 3. Correct? If you try to calculate expected value of x3, it will be 3 into 1 by 3.
Okay, sir, got it.
All right. So what we said that this is not the end. We will again talk about this later on. But the important thing is in a random walk that the mean is proportionate to t for our case, because we are we are trying to find it out what would be the asset price with respect to when we are moving in the time, and the standard deviation would be proportionate to root t. Depending upon in which area you are applying, you can always find that what would be the meaning of t and root t. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So if we are trying to find it out machine fault or deterioration in the basically a tool one, and we say that the faults are following a random walk, that what is the proportion that this much of will be there and this much will be there. In that case, t would be the number of jobs it has done. Okay, are you following it?
Yes, sir.
So for our case, t would be the time for this class, right? So you have a how many of you have got now understanding of random walk, what it is? Please raise your hand. Great. So we move on to the next part and we talk about, right, what for developing a model which is a binomial model, we assume the following. So the first one is at t is equal to 0. We are at t is equal to 0. We know what is the initial value. So the initial value of the asset is S naught. Second case, at the end of each period, the price will be either US naught. It means that it has been multiplied by a factor U, or DS naught. Let me correct this one. US naught with probability P. And DS naught with probability 1 minus P. Correct? So probability is, P and 1 minus P both are lying between 0 to 1. I'm not writing those basic things which you will be aware of that. And we are saying that U is greater than D and it is greater than 0. The fourth part is that the risk-free interest rate per period is R, and we take one factor, R is equal to 1 plus R. This is assuming per period compounding. If you take the continuous compounding in case, then you have to take it as an e to the power R. But we will be starting with this part. Later on, we can accommodate e to the power also. But that's not a tough thing. The fifth thing, for no arbitrage, right? For no arbitrage, right? What it needs to follow is U should be greater than R, capital R, and should be greater than D. This should have been for the no arbitrage. This we will prove again. But these are the basic assumptions which we take for making a binomial model. Look into this one, and if you have any question related to this, let me know. Ashish?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any question related to this?
No, sir.
Anybody having any question, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll move ahead. Can we move ahead?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Right. So how it will look like? So from S naught at t is equal to 0, it will either move to US naught or DS naught. And we can write the probability on the edges P and 1 minus P. This is the single period. Correct? If want to construct for the 2 period, so in the first period it can go to US naught, DS naught, or in the second period these are the different value which it can achieve. I'm writing a different color regarding the probability. This would be individual, conditional probability P on the each of these edges which I have talked about, right? So the total probability will, for here it will be P square. It will be 2 times P into 1 minus P, and it will be here 1 minus P whole square. So these will be the probability. Do you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So there are one thing which I need to discuss. This is the no arbitrage condition. But for the time being, one more important thing I would like to discuss here is that although we say that this is P and 1 minus P is the probability, this probability is what? Market governed? Market driven? Yes or no? Or performance driven of the company?
Sir, how are you relating this?
Which one? Probability.
Yes, sir.
So suppose company, what is the probability? Oh no, the prices can go to this one if, let's say that if the company successfully does something,
Okay, sir.
right? Then only it can have a profit. Otherwise, it will not have. And let's say that P is the probability that he will be successful, and 1 minus P is the probability that he will not be the successful. So this, in that case, the prices could be either US naught or DS naught.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, but there is one more thing. When we talked about the dollar formula, dollar part, we never talked about what was the probability that in the market driven probability that the dollar price would be 70 or 62. Have we discussed that one? No, we never talked about. Do we? Do you
Sir,
remember?
can you repeat the question?
I said that when we were talking about the option pricing, the first class, when I said that you have to exchange dollar, right? The dollar price could be 62 or 70. Do you remember this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have never talked about the probability there. What is the probability that this would be, the price would be 62, or what would be the probability that the price would be 70?
Yes, sir. You didn't talk at that point of time. You directly take it like.
Yes. So there is something additional which we are going to discuss next. That is called implied probability. In many of the book, you will find that it is called risk neutral probability factor. So we can say we can use this term implied probability. So let's take an example. So we have an English Premier League final, and this is between these two teams, Manchester United and Liverpool. So how many of you are like Manchester United to win? All right. Okay. So let's say that there is a 75% chances according to the past record, and the we can predict that there are 75% chances that the Manchester United will win, and there is a 25% chances that the Liverpool win. Right? So have you heard about the betting? Put the money and get that one. So their odds are 3:1. Correct? So why
Yes.
odds are 3:1? What does this mean? What does this exactly mean is that, okay, if you put 1 rupees, if you put 1 rupees on Manchester United, right, and if Manchester United wins, then the money you will be getting is 1 plus 1 by 3. And if it loses, your 1 rupees is gone. But if you put 1 rupees on a Liverpool, and if Liverpool wins, your return will be 1 plus 3. Correct? Is it okay? This part?
Yes, sir.
Anybody having any question related to this? Please respond. I'm not getting any response from your side. Is it okay? Please raise your hand if it at least.
Yes, sir. It's all right.
Okay. So now let's try to see that in actual scenario, the company finds that there is a total 15,000 rupees betted on Liverpool and 30,000 rupees betted on Manchester United. Let's take both the scenario, right? What if actually Manchester United wins? Then how much money the betting company has to, and what is the profit of the betting company? Can you tell me the total amount he is getting is 45,000?
Yes.
Right?
So won't he be getting 40,000 because 30,000 by 3?
No, total money he has got is
Oh,
45,000.
right, got it.
And for each 1 rupees he has to pay 1 by 3, that I can call it as a 4 by 3, and this would be 4. So the return money he has to return is 4 by 3 into 30,000. Is it
Sir,
okay?
can you repeat this part?
Okay, the total. Let's say that the total the people participated in this bet, and the 15,000 rupees was betted on Liverpool. I'm not saying that how many people and how much, each of them how much. The total amount which was put on a bet that the Liverpool wins will be is 15,000, and total amount which people have betted is 30,000 on Manchester United. So I'm trying to understand, what if Manchester United wins? So the total amount company has got is sum of these two? Yes or
sir.
no? So that is 45,000? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So how much he has to return back for each rupees? If somebody has put on Manchester United, and if Manchester United wins, he will be getting back 4 by 3.
Yes, yes.
So the total amount he has to return to all the people will be 4 by 3 into 30,000.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So what is the total amount?
5,000.
Very good.
Okay.
Takes the second case, if Liverpool wins. So the amount he is getting is same 45,000, But now he has to pay 4 times 15,000.
15,000.
So the profit is minus 15,000. Do you agree with this?
Yes, sir. It seems that that betting system is also doing betting himself only. Like he will also get lost.
So now, if I try to find it out, what is the expected profit from a statistical point of view, right? What it would be? The probability that Liverpool wins is 3/4, 75%, and the people put as the money, and he what is his expected profit out of is 5,000, correct? And the probability that Liverpool wins. Sorry. Yeah, I'm right. Yes, it's a 75% chance that the Manchester United will win. So the probability, in terms of probability, I can say that it is 3/4. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And the expected value of his profit can be given by this expression. Yes or no? What is the
Yes, sir.
what is the probability of happening this event? This is 3/4. What is the probability of happening this event is 1/4 probability. So the total expected value is 0. Statistically, we are right? But actually, either we will have, using this case, either we will have a 5,000 profit or a loss of loss of 15,000. How we can stop this one?
Sir, by changing that odd ratio.
Huh? By
Changing odd ratio.
right. So now we are not be looking into that fact that what is the positional advantage, what is the statistics which is telling me about Manchester United and Liverpool. Rather than I will just come back and see that okay, how many people have put money on Liverpool, how many people have put money on Manchester United. So let's say that I change this and I say that I put my odds as n/1 for Manchester United and m/1 or 1/m for Liverpool, whichever way you will look for. So what I want, I don't want any profit. Let's say that in that case, correct. In that case, my the net loss, profit should be 0 even if the Manchester United wins, right? So will this be an expression if I say that the odds are n/1? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So what is the value of n then?
Or 2.
So it becomes 2/1. It means that according to know my role, depending upon how much people have put money into that one, I put 2/1 ratio. It means that if Manchester United wins, so if you have put 2 rupees, you will be getting 3 rupees. Now the similar thing I can talk about for the Liverpool, and I say that it will be 45,000 minus 15,000 plus m times 15,000. That should be equal to 0. So what is the m value now?
2.
Right. So now I put my odds 1/2. So according to the people who have put the money into that one, the probability, now the probability has changed. The probability, implied probability, let me write it as Implied probability that Manchester United wins is 2/3 and Liverpool wins is 1/3. Are you getting this point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Please raise your hand if you have understood this. So instead of now relying
Sir,
on the
sir, why are we taking
please.
n/1 and 1/m?
I mean, you could have taken it as a 1 m/1 also. In that case, it would have been by m. Does not matter. Correct?
Sir, but the odds of winning Manchester United and Liverpool should sum to 1, isn't it?
Come again, please. Your voice is breaking. Hello, come again. Gaurang.
Sir, the odds should sum up to 1, isn't it?
All should be summed to 1 where it was, even if here it was not summed to 1. Sorry. Here also I put it as a 3:1.
Okay.
Right. One more thing. Why, you can ask me why instead of writing n and m, only one variable, I took n and m, because in that case, instead of 0, I can put here some positive value that would be the profit of the company. Correct?
Sir, these like they are different cases, na? Left and right side.
Right. So, but instead of 0, we could have put a positive value also in both the cases. Right. Just to indicate that this is the profit company would like to have. Minimum.
Yes, sir.
So, have you got this one?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I had a question. If we're putting some positive number in instead of 0, and for these two separate cases, we are getting different ratio.
Maybe.
Yes, sir.
Maybe you will get a different one.
Right. So, sir, in the end, the probability of Manchester United plus the probability of Liverpool should be equal to 1, right?
But you can keep this positive profit different, right? At least so that actually will look in a different manner and say that okay, this would be the odds. You can fix your odds.
All right.
Right. Again, it's a different story altogether because beforehand you will not be knowing that it is 15,000 and 30,000. You have to expect. It will be again based on the expectation. Correct that how much money you are expecting that you will be getting. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And also, it's very difficult to say that there is a 75% chances that people would bet on Manchester United, or the probability that the Manchester United will win is 75%. I have kept it very simple to make you understand that okay, there is something which is the risk is market governed. I just want to get rid of that market govern. I just want to come back and see with the internal values or the internal parameters, how can I basically play with the probability. So even if we in the binomial model, which we will make, we are saying that there is a probability P that the asset price will move to US naught, and there is a probability 1 minus P that the asset price will go to DS naught. But I will never be using this P. I'll be using a different kind of probability. And at that time you will be getting that one, that instead of the market probability, I'm using the values from the internal parameters, and that's why it is called implied probability or risk neutral probability factor. Are you getting this point?
No, sir. Like, how to relate like what you are speaking like?
Right. come again. Okay, so let's see that we talk about a call option. Okay, let's start with this, a call option. So I'm saying that from S0, I'm moving to US0 and DS0, one period. And I'm saying that this is the probability P and 1 minus P. While calculating the call option price, I will not use P. Rather, I will use some other probability P cap. Right.
Why?
The way we have explained this one, I don't want it to be the market govern. In that case, I can have a loss. We will see that part once we derive this part about how the one period in you will be able to find it out what will be the call option or the put option price in one period binomial model. In that case, we are not going to use this P. We are going to use some other probability, which will be dependent upon U, D, and R. Right, this P is basically market govern, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And instead of this one, market govern means what? It's very difficult. We can have a loss also. So rather
Yes, sir.
than we come back and say that can we replace this P with another probability type of things, which is instead of external factors, it will be related with the internal factors. And the internal factors as present now, we have three factors: capital R, which is from the risk-free factor; U and D are how the prices are going up and down. Anyway, I mean, we will discuss this one, but for a time being, have you understood this part? The example which I talked about, Manchester United and Liverpool.
Yes, sir.
Right. So let's start with the call option, European call option pricing. Using one period binomial model. So we have the same assumption, correct, that the asset price or is at present S0 in one period with the probability P, it can go to US0 and probability with 1 minus P, it can go to DS0, correct? What we need to find it out is that what would be the call option price at T is equal to 0. And there could, similarly, it can realize these two things with the probability P and 1 minus P. Right. With probability P, see what should be the value of this call option at T is equal to 1 with the probability P. I mean, when we assume that the asset price has moved to US0. In that case, what should be the value of this option, call option? Yeah, tell me. Do you remember this term? What should be the value of this call option? How much profit can you generate from this call option?
Yes, sir.
K is known to you. K is already said that in all the option, K would be symbol would be the strike price. How many of you have understood this part, which I'm underlining with the red color? Only two people. Who have not understood this, let me know. And when the prices is DS naught, the profit I can have is this much because it's a call option. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. So instead of writing the whole expression, I'll simply write this as a CU and this whole term as CD. It can be 0 or maximum among the two terms which we have already written. Right. There is one more thing which we will talk about is B naught. And B naught is something which is the risk-free part. So irrespective of whatever happens, it will grow with a factor R, capital R, yes or no? Because it's a risk-free one.
Yes.
Correct. So now, if you remember what we did,
Sir, I had a
Sir,
question. The probability that I am taking here is that implied probability.
no. I have not talked yet about the implied probability. This is the P itself is a market probability.
Okay, sir.
I have not come back to the implied.
Sure, sir.
sir, why did you write this B0 like in this way of P probability of RB0 and 1 minus P probability of RB0?
Right, because there are two things. One is the risk-free asset, how it is moving into the market. So this is the risk-free part. So even if I take a B naught amount, let me say that this is a B naught because this is very much related when it's B is symbol for a bond basically. But we will talk about this as a risk-free part. So even if you have a B naught amount of money at T is equal to 0, it at T is equal to 1 irrespective of whatever happens with the asset S naught, the value of B naught will be R B naught.
Yes, sir.
So that's why, because when asset call option pricing, we need the asset price and the risk-free part, both together. Are you getting this part? Please
Yes, sir.
raise. So the first thing I talked about is for no arbitrage. Raj, you should be greater than R, capital R, and should be greater than D. This is must. If any of this is not following this, inequality, then there is an arbitrage. So let's talk about this one. Let's say that at T is equal to 0, we own X units of S naught and Y units of B naught.
Sir, is U the fraction increase in F naught?
Is a factor, not is a factor. So if I say that, there is a probability P that the prices will increase by 20%, then U becomes 1.2.
Okay, sir, got it.
And if I say that there is a 1 minus P probability that prices would be increased by 5%, then in that case D would be 1.05. If I say that there is 1 minus P probability that the prices would increase by a factor 0.95, basically it will decrease by a 5%. In that case, D would be 0.95.
So U and D both can be greater than 1 and less than 1 at the same time.
Less than 1, it should not be there because R is capital R is also there. And R will not be less than 1, capital R.
Got it.
So
So
now
U should always be greater.
the condition is that there are two conditions. This one and U, capital R, capital D all should be greater than 0. These are the two conditions. Right?
So what is this B0 then?
B is, I'm saying that amount of, let's say that the money I'm talking about, a unit of money. So if I take rupees 1 here, correct, instead of B0, if I take 1 rupees here, at the end of one period I will have a R rupees.
Yes.
Right. So instead of
So
waiting,
it's like a short selling kind of thing.
it's not short selling.
We are depositing the amount in bank.
Either we are depositing or we are taking loan. Correct. That both would be the
Yes.
same thing. I'm representing it with X and Y. Correct. Is the X unit whether I'm buying or selling? Depends upon whether, if it is positive, let's say that we are buying, and it is negative, then we are short selling it or selling it, or vice versa, whichever way you want to put that one.
Yes, I got it.
So now at t is equal to 0, let's say that X units of X S0 we have, or we buy it. So if you are buying, I'm calling it as a positive. If you are selling, I'm calling it as a negative. And Y units of B0, that is what amount we have. Okay, are you getting this point?
Yes, sir.
Right. So at t is equal to 0, what is the value of my portfolio? I'm writing it as a VP. Will it be X S0 plus Y B0? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And at t is equal to 1, when the one period ends, the asset price from S0 could have been gone to US0 or DS0 with probability P and 1 minus P, and B0 had been gone to RB0, irrespective of whatever happens. So I say that this would be my value of portfolio with probability P, and this would be the value of my portfolio T is equal to 1 at the probability 1 minus P. Do you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
All right. So to next week we stop it here. Correct. Next week we say that this X and Y, basically if I play with X and Y, I can say that, okay, if this condition follows, U is greater than R is greater than D, then only we will have a no arbitrage, otherwise not. So my plan is that next Wednesday I'll discuss about the no arbitrage and one period binomial model. I will finish that one on next Thursday, and Friday I'll try to finish the multi-period and also try to cover the American one. Right. So I said this to you so that you can look into the book that what we are going to cover.